Have you ever stood in front of a room full of eyes staring right at you, and suddenly your mind goes completely blank? You knew the answer 5 minutes ago, but now it feels like your brain just hit delete. That moment when confidence evaporates and panic floods in is not weakness, it is biology. Welcome to choking under pressure, the psychological phenomenon where high stakes overload your prefrontal cortex and turn solid knowledge into temporary amnesia. Today you will discover exactly why your brain betrays you under the spotlight and master a 3-second memory anchor technique that retrieves 90% of your content instantly. Imagine never again freezing during a presentation, an exam, or even a casual toast. The secret lies in understanding how pressure hijacks your working memory and deploying a science-backed counterattack. Let us start with the hook that grabs every viewer who has ever felt that stomach drop. Picture this: you practiced your speech 20 times in the mirror and nailed every line. The second you step on stage, the words vanish like smoke. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and the harder you try to remember, the emptier your head becomes. That is choking under pressure in action, and it strikes everyone from students to CEOs. Research from the University of Chicago shows that performance drops up to 20% when perceived social evaluation spikes. Your brain shifts into survival mode, flooding with cortisol and starving the prefrontal cortex of oxygen. The prefrontal cortex is the CEO of your executive functions, planning, reasoning, and recall. Under normal conditions, it retrieves information smoothly like a well-organized library. But when the amygdala senses threat, it screams danger and hijacks resources. Blood flow redirects to fight-or-flight systems, and your rational mind gets throttled. Suddenly, facts you memorized for weeks feel locked behind a steel door. This is not forgetting, it is temporary retrieval failure caused by cognitive overload. Cian Belock, a leading expert on performance anxiety, calls it overthinking, the explicit monitoring hypothesis. When pressure mounts, you start micromanaging automatic skills. A golfer who sinks putts effortlessly in practice starts analyzing every muscle on the green and misses by a mile. The same happens with speech or test answers. You overfocus on delivery and paralyze the fluid recall that practice built. Social comparison theory amplifies the choke. Leon Festinger showed we evaluate ourselves against others constantly. In a room full of judgmental eyes, your brain assumes every blank stare means failure. That perceived judgment spikes anxiety, and the cycle worsens. The Dunning-Kruger effect flips the script for overconfident people. Low performers overestimate ability and rarely choke because they feel no threat. High performers, however, know the stakes, and their competence makes them vulnerable to self-scrutiny. Ironically, the better you are, the more likely pressure can derail you. Let's bring this phenomenon to life with stories you'll recognize instantly. Meet Sarah, a straight-A student who aced every practice quiz for her biology final. The day of the oral exam arrives. The professor and 2 classmates watch silently. The question is simple: explain the Krebs cycle. Sarah opens her mouth and nothing comes out. Her mind races through panic instead of mitochondria. She sees the diagram in her head, but the words evaporate. 10 seconds feel like 10 minutes. Her face burns red and she mumbles, "I don't know." Later in the hallway, she recites the entire cycle flawlessly to her friend. That is choking under pressure, stripping a top performer bare in public. Now picture Jake, a regional sales director, delivering quarterly results to the executive board. He spent 2 weeks perfecting 30 slides, each statistic memorized cold. The CEO nods for him to begin. Slide 1 loads, Jake's opening line vanishes. He clicks forward, frantically searching for a lifeline. The room's silence grows heavier with every second. His prepared joke about last quarter's wins dies in his throat. He stumbles through bullet points, voice cracking, credibility sliding. The The same presentation to his own team the day before earned applause. The only difference is the spotlight of evaluation. Shift to Mia, a violin prodigy at her first conservatory audition. She played the Bach concerto hundreds of times without a single wrong note. Judges sit stone-faced behind a table. Bow touches string and her left hand freezes mid-phrase. Muscle memory built over years collapses under scrutiny. She restarts twice, tears welling, until the panel stops her. Backstage, she performs the piece perfectly for the empty hallway. These examples reveal a pattern. Skill level does not grant immunity. In fact, expertise heightens risk. A 2022 meta-analysis in the Journal of Experimental Psychology reviewed 40 studies and found that individuals with high working memory capacity choke hardest when stakes involve ego threat. The brain treats social evaluation like physical danger. Functional MRI scans show the ventromedial prefrontal cortex lights up identically for public speaking fear and heights. Evolution wired us to fear exile from the tribe more than death. A blank mind in front of peers triggers that ancient alarm. Consider stand-up comedians bombing on stage. A joke that slays in the green room falls flat under bright lights. The comedian starts over-explaining punchlines, voice speeding up, sweat visible. Audience laughter turns to pity coughs. The harder they push for approval, the worse the delivery becomes. This self-fulfilling spiral is called ironic process theory. Daniel Wegner demonstrated that trying not to think of a white bear makes the bear roar louder. Trying not to blank makes the blank inevitable. Now flip to positive pressure. Olympic divers report the zone where time slows and every rotation feels automatic. They choke less because they train under simulated crowds and learn to reframe pressure as challenge, not threat. A study had divers wear heart rate monitors during practice versus competition. Those who labeled adrenaline as excitement maintained rotation accuracy. Those who labeled it anxiety lost 2/10 on difficulty scores, enough to drop medals. Everyday life serves smaller stages. Job interviews where you rehearse answers perfectly, then draw blanks on "tell me about yourself." First dates where witty stories turn to stammers. Even posting on social media, typing, deleting, overthinking every word until the post never sends. The common thread is an audience, real or imagined. Here is the final section that ties science to salvation. Choking under pressure is not a life sentence. It is a glitch you can hack. The prefrontal overload happens in milliseconds, but recovery can too. Enter the memory anchor technique, a 3-second reset backed by cognitive psychology. Step 1. Pre-select a sensory trigger before any high-stakes moment. Choose something vivid and unique, like the smell of fresh coffee, the feel of a cold metal pen, or the sound of your favorite song intro. Practice pairing this trigger with your content during low-pressure rehearsals. For Sarah, she chose the scent of peppermint gum. Every biology review session ended with a snap of gum. Her brain wired peppermint equals Krebs cycle. During the exam freeze, she pops a piece, inhales sharply. Within 3 seconds, the olfactory cue bypasses the overloaded prefrontal cortex and activates the hippocampus directly. The diagram floods back. She speaks fluently. Jake picked the cold steel of his wedding ring. He rehearsed slides while twisting the ring. On stage, 1 twist, 1 deep breath. Numbers return. Mia selected the opening chord of her Bach piece played on a phone recording. Audition panic hits. She hums the chord under her breath. Muscle memory reboots. Fingers fly. Research from Stanford's Memory Laboratory confirms sensory anchors retrieve 90% of blocked content when verbal cues fail. The trick works because smells, touches, and sounds route through the limbic system faster than language. You bypass the traffic jam in working memory. Combine anchors with 2 preemptive strategies. First, reframe pressure. Carnegie Mellon studies show labeling nerves as excitement cuts cortisol by 25%. Tell yourself, this rush means I care, not I'm scared. Second, overlearn your material to automaticity. A skill practiced until it survives distraction resists choking. Pianist Lang Lang plays concertos while solving math problems. Your brain treats the skill as habit, not performance. Daily application looks simple. Before a meeting, pick your anchor, smell, touch, or sound. Rehearse 3 times with it. In the moment, deploy the trigger. Breathe, speak. Job interviews, anchor to your watch. Touch it, recall your star stories. Public speeches, anchor to stage lights. Glance up, retrieve opening line. Even arguments with partners, anchor to their smile. See it in your mind. Remember your calm point. The reward is freedom. No more dreading the spotlight. Confidence becomes biology, not hope. Master this, and every room becomes your stage, not your jury. Start today. Choose one anchor. Pair it with one fact. Test it tonight. Your brain betrayed you once. Now make it your ally.